Welcome to episode 3 of the Clappercast, where we talk all things hockey. We're just two passionate fans, giving our take. I'm Burke.
And I'm Sean.
And I guess to jump things off, last week we talked about the Ducks, and of course, as soon as that episode dropped, they win.
Yep, the day after. So we recorded the episode on Wednesday night. They were still in the middle of their 12-game losing streak. And the next night, they win quite convincingly over Minnesota. So that's the thing.
Fucking Minnesota.
Additionally, we also talked about Tampa Bay and how it was mid-January and they still hadn't lost 10 games in regulation. They lost in regulation to make that 10 the next night as well. So,
I guess
in unrelated news, Edmonton is not winning the Stanley Cup this year.
Shocker.
See what happens.
Yeah. Another thing with Tampa is that Vasilevsky let in a goal in, what was it, like 7-3 or something?
I believe it was 6-2, lets in a goal, make it 6-3 with 30 seconds left.
Snaps his stick.
Yeah, he smashed his stick, broke it over the crossbar, and then chucked his blocker somewhere too. I didn't see that on the broadcast.
I like that. I like it.
I thought it was funny, just this meaningless goal. I mean, the announcer speculated that he might have had like some random bonus that kind of was riding on a certain amount of goals or something, but I thought it was funny.
There's still a lot of games left in the season,
yeah.
So I like it because it shows that he cares and we're gonna win anyway. It doesn't matter if I let it in. No,
battle to the end.
Yeah, I like it. Another thing that happened this week is Ryan Johansen chopped Scheifele in the neck.
Yeah, Ryan Johansen's firewood chops per 60 are through the roof right now. Insanely dirty play.
I was surprised it wasn't against Kessler, given their history. But
fair.
So the Department of Player Safety took a look at it and determined it was worthy of 2 games.
Also called it a high stick for some reason.
Yeah, I think that it was worthy of more than 2 games based
Absolutely.
off of, where he hit him, and you have to control your stick.
It's a stick infraction. It's a stick swinging incident.
And
really.
you had like Paul Byron get suspended for 3 games for a hit that in my mind wasn't intentional. So it's like,
yeah, it was a headshot, so they gave him 3 games, which is fair. I'm fine with it. But you have a guy who just swung his stick at another player's head and neck.
Yeah,
and you only
over
give him 2
top
games.
of his body comes from on top, like above.
A 2-handed chop. And you call it high sticking, and then you say it's only 2 games.
Yeah.
So there's a nice wheel of justice situation right there, I think.
Yeah, definitely spun the wheel there. I just think there's some discrepancy between some suspensions. It's just so inconsistent,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Ryan Johansen has no history, but neither does Paul Byron, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Paul Byron.
Yeah. When I was saying that, it felt weird in my head for some reason, even though I just said his name like a minute ago.
Yeah,
anyway.
they did look at it, and I mean, I guess Johansen in their talks, like, that wasn't intentional, like, didn't mean to do that. No history, suspension, or violent incidents in the games, so, okay.
It's strange.
Just a weird precedent to set.
I mean, I'm glad he got suspended for 2. It's just I would have liked to see a little bit more based off of the violence of that.
I was seeing chop. 3 to 5 is probably reasonable for...
Yeah, 3 would have been fine, I think, but hey, you can't win them all.
There's a reason we aren't spinning that wheel in the Department of Player Safety.
Yeah. I guess, like I said, you're never going to win them all. You either want less games for somebody or more games. It's just...
Very rare does anybody say that is the right amount of games to be in a suspension.
You got that one right.
Good job, guys.
I guess moving on. I meant to talk about this last week, but we never got around to it. Is the bullying stuff, because we talked about that in episode 1, and it would have been nice in episode 2 to follow up on that, because there was a black kid playing in Detroit, and he faced some racist comments and racist acts from players and coaches and things, and it was pretty tough to see. Some of the acts were pretty bad, but first of all, PK Subban made a video for this kid.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It doesn't take much time out of PK's day to just do that.
Yeah, and for someone like him, he's a visual ambassador for the game, so to keep himself, like, to be that guy sending this video out to this kid, it's huge.
And I'm sure he's faced a lot of adversity as well. I mean, I know online you can see people think that he got traded because he was black. I don't think there's anything to that, but he's definitely had to face racism as a black player in the NHL and in minors and juniors and whatnot. But additionally, the Capitals invited some kids who also were getting some racist stuff thrown at them.
Yeah.
To meet the team and go in the dressing room and converse with the guys and just have some fun.
Yeah,
so
it's cool. Yeah.
Definitely.
Was that like practice or like before a game?
I'm not sure. I didn't look into that aspect. I just saw that. I think it might have been after a game. I think they invited them to a game.
Yeah, I did hear about it, but I didn't. Like I was saying, I didn't look into it. I heard the announcers talking about it in the game.
Yeah, but it's cool to see.
Yeah,
definitely. A lot of times people just focus on the bad stuff, but they don't actually see the good that happens. So it's
or do
cool.
The good after.
Yeah. So again, how much time does that take for the organization to do? Not very much.
To be honest, I imagine the players are more than happy to do it.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
And today in the game against Chicago, the Capitals got absolutely just worked. But Devontae Smith-Pelly was on the he was on the starting lineup because of what happened in the last game there, where he faced those racial comments and remarks. So it's cool to see him on the ice for the anthems.
I think they talked about TJ Oshie being like, DSP should be on the ice at the start, and Coach Reardon was like, "Yep."
I love Oshie.
Yeah, he's cool.
He's a pretty good guy. Yeah. So I mean, it is cool, that sort of stuff does happen in hockey. The good happens. I would say more than the bad, but
it helps to kind of humanize them too, and like bring them more relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these guys are approachable. They do care. They're part of. They can use their status for a lot of good and a lot of kind acts.
I mean, I didn't think DSP had a particularly good game, but it was good for him to be out there for the anthems, and I think the whole team generally just had a bad game. And I am really looking forward to the break because I feel like they need it because they are not doing well, and they haven't been doing since Christmas, basically. And I know a lot of Caps fans are blaming Orpik because the team has kind of declined since he came back, but to be honest, I don't think it's him. I just think it's the team can't make a pass, and that's not Orpik's fault.
Yeah, I mean, every team is going to go through random stretches. They can't do a damn thing, no matter what.
In today's game, I noticed Orpik was the only guy making a clean breakout pass.
I did see him actually make a couple of really nice ones.
And you have Madison Bowie, who we talked about last week, just having an atrocious game today.
Yeah.
Just terrible defensive coverage where he chases across his partner to go after somebody and then chases them behind the net.
Chases the puck badly too, where he kind of acts like he is the guy on the ice who does everything. Like, he won't recognize that I'm not in position to do that and let someone else deal with it who's actually like closer to it or something.
Yeah,
and goes and throws himself way out of position, and it ends up in a huge chance against or a turnover or something.
Yeah, and then he's just under pressure. He's trying to skate the puck, but he's not a good handler of the puck, so had some pretty bad turnovers.
Stick handles himself into submission, basically.
Whiffing on some passes and things. I don't mean to just shit on him particularly. I mean, the one goal, Tom Wilson was completely at fault, the DeBrincat goal, because he just tried to cover a guy that three people were already on, and he left DeBrincat wide open.
Yeah, he came way off his man to cut to the middle.
I don't know what he was trying to do there, if he was trying to get a big hit for the boys, but man, that was not a good performance by them tonight. Or this afternoon,
Is their break start like now? Their bye week going into the All-Star break?
I'm not sure. Let me just check that real quick. Yeah, because I don't really remember.
Yeah, because we're recording this on Sunday, and I think the All-Star break starts on
the 24th, 23rd.
So that'd be probably Friday, I guess.
Yeah.
So be 5 days. That might start today. Maybe they started after.
No, they play on Tuesday against the Sharks.
Okay, so theirs is after the All-Star break.
So and then they play on on Wednesday against the Maple Leafs. So yeah, that's gonna be their last game, and they're gonna have some extra time off.
Yeah, that'll be good.
It's just I don't know. They're playing stupid out there, for lack of a better term.
Lull. maybe they get it out of their system now, and then I mean they're still comfortably in a division spot. I think like
Yeah.
maybe
just-
they kick it back up in the playoffs again.
It's just
and
kind of team round. They're not playing up to where they should be. And
it also doesn't help when you have so many players on massive goal droughts.
yeah. Kuznetsov 1 goal in 21 games, and
I
then
think Burakovsky's about the same.
Yeah.
I think I saw Eller on that list too,
And today, all 5 goals of the Capitals were scored by defensemen.
which is actually really weird. You don't see that very often.
Very strange. I mean,
I was actually hoping for 1 goal from each defenseman. That would have been cool.
yeah, so was I. But yeah, it was just strange, really strange that they have so many offensive, weapons, but they're not
clicking.
They're not clicking. And Ovechkin's kind of been a little cold too since, I guess,
About the same.
yeah, the new year. He's kind of not been firing. And like they can't win a goddamn face-off. They are last in the NHL in face-offs, and I think they might need to bring somebody in who can win a draw, because I think the only guy over 50% is Nicholas Backstrom. Kuznetsov's at like 30%.
Yeah, it does help. Like there's been teams that succeed with low face-off winning percentages, but ultimately you want to get the puck as quickly as you can.
Well, especially if your D are having problems moving it out of the zone. If you don't win the draw,
Oh, totally.
when they get the puck, it's going to be under pressure.
And what good are your offensive weapons if you can never win the puck in the offensive zone?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mean to turn this into Capitals cast, but it's just frustrating, and I know a lot of Caps fans are pretty bandwagony, so they're pulling their hair out and saying like, "Oh, we're gonna lose again." It's just like, well, I mean, they go through this almost every year. It's just, it's good that it's happening now and not, in May.
Like it usually does.
Yeah.
So maybe they recognize it now. They know to get this out of their system now, and then they know they don't need to go completely hard and tire themselves out in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And then they pick it back up to convincingly get into the playoffs and roll into the playoffs.
For sure. Another thing I wanted to touch on is that the Stars are doing pretty well since Lights called them out. Well, at least 2 players out, Sagan and Jamie Benn.
I also saw that thing with Radulov too.
Yeah.
I didn't read a whole lot into it, but he was kind of taking ownership for some.
He mouthed
poor
off
behavior.
to the coach. I'm blanking on the coach's name.
Montgomery, Jim Montgomery.
Yeah.
Montgomery, if I can say that word.
I guess he mouthed off and didn't like what he was doing, so he got benched,
Mm-hmm.
which is the right move. And then after the game, Radulov said, "Yeah, it was the right call. I shouldn't be doing that. I respect his decision." And I know
That's a lot of maturity out of a guy who
definitely
5 years ago wouldn't probably have shown that.
and a guy who slashed his coach in the face in the KHL.
Very true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
So I guess we're glad it didn't go to that this time.
I mean, I guess like his intensity goes both ways, because he's such an intense guy that sometimes it will probably get the better of him.
Yeah.
But I would want him on my team. He is an absolute beast.
Absolutely.
He reminds me of like, I hate to say it because I always bring up Ovechkin, but just like the passion when he scores, you can just see it in his face. Like he just lets out like a war cry when he scores. He's like, ah, like. I was really surprised when the Habs didn't re-sign him, because he was like their best player by a mile.
They could have used him. I mean,
Yeah, he's
he
a
could have
scary
been a valuable
player.
part of that. Like
He's just such a beast. Oh my gosh, but yeah,
And I mean, I don't really like having to look at a line of Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, and Alexander Radulov.
yeah,
Like, I don't like playing against all-star lines.
yeah. They've been firing it up since that call out, and I don't know if it's really related or not, but it's just interesting because, I mean, they weren't doing very well, but I think Sagan's got quite a few goals, so he clearly he didn't forget how to score.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. Aside from that, I wanted to talk about Jarome Iginla getting his number retired.
It was inevitable. There's no way you don't. Like,
Yeah.
It's awesome. I don't think it's a game against Edmonton, and I'm kind of sad because I'd like to have watched that against Edmonton in a Battle of Alberta. Like,
Yeah, that would have been classic.
yeah, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, what a career for him. He just perennial goal scorer, just like
Goal, like, he's just huge.
Man.
Like every facet of the game, he was really, really, really good at.
yeah, it's
like-
kind of sad how he kind of just like drifted out of the league.
Little bit. He kind of I might have just also kind of been forced out in a sense because like he did. I don't think he at the end of his career he had like the speed or the pace to be able to keep up with the game as well as it got faster and smaller. And I think he just kind of ended up not fitting in anymore. So instead of kind of retiring, he just didn't get a contract and got forced out.
Where was his last year? Pittsburgh?
Is either Pittsburgh or LA.
Oh, yeah, probably LA. Yeah, I'm not
He
sure.
went Calgary, Boston,
Mhm.
Pittsburgh, LA, I think. Or Pittsburgh, Boston, LA.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Because I remember there was that thing when he got traded initially that it was reported that he was going to Boston, I think. And then that got canceled and he got sent to Pittsburgh instead. But
Yeah.
he still went to Boston anyways. But I can't remember which order the teams came in.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of always knew he was going to get his number retired, just
Oh, for
captain
sure.
for so long.
Totally.
Also,
One
one
of
of the best hockey cards of all time, where he's
Really?
playing ping pong in like booty shorts, basically.
I got to check this out.
Oh man, it's great. Anybody listening, you gotta check out that
we
Iginla ping
will
pong
find a
hockey card.
picture and tweet it out after we're done recording here.
Yeah, it's so great. It's
Top notch.
It's just so, yeah. Like I said, probably like top 5 all time. Just
Yeah.
ping pong, like.
I was actually at the beginning of last season. I was actually hoping Edmonton would give him like a PTO or sign him to a contract to bring him in for a year.
Just to shit on the Flames.
That and he's also an Edmonton kid.
Yeah.
Like he grew up in St. Albert, so it would have been kind of cool bring him in. Like insane leadership presence, experience, and everything to help guide the team a little bit.
It would have been cool.
Yeah, it also would have helped winger depth.
Can't go wrong.
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the Islanders, the sneaky Islanders.
No thanks.
You sure? You sure?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're actually doing pretty good considering
Yeah, they're
where they
first
were
in
last
the
year.
Metro, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
First in the Metro, and I haven't looked recently, but at one point recently they were the best in the league for goals against. They gave up the least.
What a turnaround.
Considering last year they were the most, and they didn't really do much to improve the roster.
The Trotz effect.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool, and I think it's kind of a show that like the importance of systems, the importance of a good coach, that they can take basically the same, if not a worse roster, and turn it around like that.
Yeah, because, I mean, you obviously had Tavares leave, but then you had, Leonard come in, and that's...
Yeah, I think it's Leonard and Thomas Greiss.
And then you also had, Matt Martin came back, Leo Komarov came in.
Some good locker room guys, probably.
Yeah, I know, some depth guys that can, be leaders, and also PK and put the body on guys.
And, I mean, you bring in Lamoriello, who's apparently a wizard at turning hockey teams around in a very short period of time, and a highly, highly regarded coach in Trotz, along with the assistant and the goalie coach.
Yeah, Lane Lambert and Mitch Korn.
So these guys are probably establishing pretty good reputations or legacies as some of the best coaches in their respective positions for this generation.
I miss Trotz. I think he was just irreplaceable for the Capitals because you could just see it. Like, the guys would run through a brick wall for him. Like, in their cellies, you could see, just how much they respected Trotz and how much, winning with him meant to them.
You can't overlook the effect of the twitchy eyebrows on the other team as well. It's pretty intimidating.
Yeah, and he slimmed down, too. Like, he got in better shape. And, Lane Lambert's got some sick flow. I believe he's a power play coach, I think. Maybe just offensive coach. I don't remember. And then Mitch Korn is just a goalie wizard. Every goalie that guy touches just turns to gold. It's unbelievable.
And every time. I mean, Polpy turned around.
They pulled him out of semi-retirement so he could work on Colby's game last year.
And it worked.
It worked.
And now he goes to Long Island, and suddenly Thomas Greiss is doing insanely well, and I haven't seen a whole lot of Leonard.
I think Leonard's doing well too, and he's revitalizing his career because he was struggling in Buffalo, and also was he was battling alcoholism, and went to rehab.
And a lot of turnaround.
Lamoriello was a guy who would, I believe in Robin Leonard's Players Tribune article, he spoke about how he would meet with guys and they wouldn't want to sign him because he had personal demons and whatnot.
Yeah.
and Lamoriello was a guy who would sign him. So Lamoriello is definitely a respected guy, and he got major props from a lot of people in the hockey world based off of that article.
Yeah.
But it is cool to see how he's, kind of has a new, a breath of fresh air in his career. And
Yeah.
Mitch Korn is obviously one of the greatest goalie coaches. So it's
Easily.
just kind of all come together for them. And yeah, you mentioned that their goal differential went from the worst to the best.
Yep.
And that comes down to coaching, because when the Capitals played them the other day, and again, sorry for bringing up the Capitals, but it's the team I watch the most, so it's when I notice stuff the most. But last year when the Capitals would play the Islanders would they'd get chasing the puck. The Capitals would do some cycling and stuff.
Okay.
And the Islanders would just kind of get lost. So then that opened up a lot of lanes, and the Capitals would just bomb in goals.
Being a dynamic, creative team,
And then this year,
they can create stuff out of
the
that.
Capitals just could not get anything going. It was really like two teams playing the same systems, but the Islanders were better at it. With,
It's like
in
playing
my
chess against
opinion,
yourself.
a little less of a talented group, right?
Yep.
So they played the system well and better, and they outworked the Capitals, and that's all Trotz, in my opinion, and the players buying in.
Well, same deal with Vegas last year.
And I think that I heard Trotz was saying in the beginning of the season that it was kind of like, fuck John Tavares, like, we can do it without him, we don't need him. Everybody's putting us down in the basement, but we're still a team without him.
Prove them wrong.
Yeah, prove them wrong. And
Even
that's
more
like,
the same deal as Vegas.
That's a classic coach move, right? Like, us against them.
Yeah.
Builds camaraderie between the boys, and they play for each other.
Yeah.
And then you have a new captain in Anders Lee, and they're just killing it. Like, they're doing really well.
Yeah. On that note, too, that's probably inevitable, especially if the Islanders get to the top of the division, but Trotz getting consideration for the Jack Adams Award?
Oh, I think he's one of the favorites right now.
I think the three finalists at this point would absolutely be John Cooper, Tampa, Bill Peters in Calgary, and Trotz in New York.
Yeah, I think so.
Depending on like how close to the record Tampa goes, I don't know if you can not give it to Cooper, but you can also argue the turnaround on the Flames and the Islanders would be enough to give them more of the impact of the coach versus a team that's been perennially good under the same coach for years.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I just have a bias because I love Trotz so much and I miss him a lot, but he's definitely up there. Just taking the team from like one of the worst to one of the best.
Yeah,
I think is
huge.
his more. It shows his value as a coach rather than Cooper being on a good team that's been consistently good.
Yeah, for 5-6 years.
Yeah, like
However long
he's a unbelievably good coach. Don't get me wrong, but Jack Adams is best coach of the year, and
good point of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah,
but I think he's definitely going to be a contender for it.
See where Calgary finishes too. If they're up at the top of the West still, then absolutely Bill Peters is going to get consideration.
Yeah, because like you said, like Gallant last year, they weren't the best team in the league, were they? Did they win the President's Trophy? No, it's Nashville,
it was
right?
Nashville, yeah. They were they were second or third or something.
I don't even think Laviolette was like in talks for best coach.
Actually.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean,
think he's going to be
last
up there.
Last year's Jack Adams, there was no point in worrying about the other finalists because who else is going to get it?
Yeah.
Like there was no there was no way anybody but Gallant was getting that trophy.
Yeah. And I think another thing that we're kind of brushing over is Cal Clutterbuck had to shave his mustache, and I think that might have, shook things up. Lamoriello's facial hair policy, maybe that's all they needed. They just needed clean shaven.
Aerodynamics.
Yeah, it's just science.
The mustache slows them down.
Exactly. Maybe bouncing off from Clutterbuck to a guy he once injured, a team he once injured. He injured Brock Besser last year. They're playing today, and Pettersson's making his return.
Again, from injury.
Yeah.
He scored already.
Yeah, so that's cool to see.
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure it was like in the first period of his return, he scored already. And, of course, it was assisted by Besser, I believe.
They're just such a different team without him in the lineup. I watched a little bit of a game the other night, and
He's unreal.
Yeah, he's just so fun to watch.
Like he just scores.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
he's
just
a
one of those guys
fun
that
guy
like
to
you
watch.
don't like some players or some teams you see the build up to a goal. With Pedersen, he just scores.
Yeah.
He just like goes from nothing to everything all at once, and it's hey, he scored again.
Yeah, the game I watched some of that game against Buffalo, and there was like nobody in the stands in Vancouver because Pedersen was hurt. I don't know if that's the only reason,
I think
but
it's just been a trend with the Canucks attendance over the last year or two.
yeah, but I mean there was just so many vacant seats. It seemed strange. I know Buffalo might not be a big draw, but I don't know. It just seemed less than normal.
Yeah,
Probably because Pedersen's hurt and the tickets are so expensive in Vancouver that if they're not going to see Pedersen, you'd probably just scalp him.
probably, or just not go.
Yeah. I mean that's I think the case in Vancouver because there's so many corporate seats that
Corporate
a lot
seats
of people don't
and
go.
I mean, in our experience, a lot of kind of bandwagonish
Yeah.
fans. Like the team was so popular when they were really good, but then they started dropping down from that, and suddenly no one really cared. You don't hear anybody talk about them anymore. Like there's a little bit of that going on, and for them to get a couple of dynamic, exciting young players to watch, it's probably helping turn it around.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
especially you start hearing people talking about Pedersen and Besser again, and you start hearing a little bit more about the Canucks, and you got kids who are looking up to these guys now already, like because they're so good and exciting to watch. Like it'll turn around pretty quickly.
Yeah. And then they had Thatcher Demko made his first start of the season, his first regulation win. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I keep hearing a lot about him the last few years, so be interesting to see if he turns into the 93 or 94 overall goalie he does all the time in NHL 19.
Yeah, I've heard that he's one of the consistently good guys to sign in the NHL games
Yeah,
because he just
always.
develops so well.
Yeah, he ends up being the best goalie in the league easily.
Yeah, I think he's been doing. I don't really know in Utica because I don't know, but I think he's due for some more starts and
Probably. Like the thing with the goalie too, there's no sense in rushing him when the team's not at a point that they can back him up.
yeah. Well, I know that was kind of their plan when they got rid of Nielsen, that they wanted to bring up Demko. I mean, that's what they traded for McKenna, and then he got claimed when they tried to send him down.
Oh.
So now he's, I think, probably their de facto 2 goalie.
I think so, because they also, I don't even know who else is in their organization now. It's just Markstrom. And that guy with a really long name that I can't remember,
I don't know.
that they signed and put in the AHL.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even want to try to remember his name. It's just really, really long and starts with an S.
Does he play with Colton Saucerman?
I think so.
Yeah, all
Yukon
name team.
Cornelius.
Yeah, interesting too. The Canucks traded Michael Del Zotto during the game
Yeah.
for Luke Shen.
I don't know why. And a draft pick I think they got out of it too.
Yeah, apparently Luke Shen can't even crack the San Diego Gulls AHL. So I don't know if he'll play in Utica, but it's just
I don't get it.
I know Del Zotto's been bad, but it just seems like a strange. Like, what round of a pick did they get? 7th?
I think it was. It was like a 6th or a 7th, really, really late.
I mean, maybe Del Zotto's got like a sizable contract that they're trying to slim down, but
I don't
I
think
don't
the
know
Canucks
why
are
they
really
would
worried
be
about that.
worried about that. It just seems such a like it seemed like
Why?
such a strange
Yeah.
trade to make.
I saw it and my first reaction was why? Like what's the point of trading 2 defensemen who can't crack a roster?
Especially during a game.
Yeah, I don't think he was playing. I think
he was.
Was he?
Yeah.
I thought he was scratched.
No, he was definitely in the game. And then
Did they have to usher him out quietly when someone else got
I
injured,
guess
like with
because
Duchene?
it went to overtime, and I think the trade was announced like later in the game, so
Yeah.
it's just strange. I know that happened to like Camilleri, and they like made him turn in his jersey.
It also happened to Duchene, I think,
Oh,
because
okay.
I think it was him that they snuck him out down the tunnel because he got traded in the game, and like he went down the tunnel with the injured guy. And
Oh
then never
yeah, I
came
remember
back.
that. Yeah, for sure.
And then people are like, "Why did Duchene just go down there too?" And then the news
Yeah.
came out like pretty soon after.
Yeah, because Sakic fleeced Ottawa. Yeah. Speaking of Duchene, there's some rumors going around that he was offered an $8 million contract by the Senators.
That's pretty good. I think I saw further that his side's asking range is in the 8 to 9 million per year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of player that left Colorado because he wants to win. And Ottawa being where they are in the standings,
they're not going to win for a few years.
yeah, I'm not sure if even if you offer the length of contract, because a lot of times guys just want those extra years so they can make more. But
yeah, more security.
if he wants to win, does that really impact his decision if they offer him extra years? I don't.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of weird because like we know what his motivation was originally, and now maybe it's changed. Maybe he's not as concerned about it now, but
maybe
he's
he
not being public about
would
it.
stay because when he left Colorado, they instantly became better. Well, I mean, after the season ended, the season after they made playoffs.
It was that season.
Was it that season?
Yeah, because he got traded like I guess about a year ago, just over a year ago, I think. They made the playoffs last year, didn't they?
Colorado did, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he got traded. No, he wasn't there for their the 2017 playoffs, right?
No, I can't. You know what? I think I'm getting my years mixed up.
Yeah, I'm not sure when Duchene. Yeah, when the hell did he get traded?
Time's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I mean, regardless of whenever he got traded and whatever the fuck we're trying to say here, I think he's going to value winning more than the contract because, I mean, he's already made a bunch of money. So I think he's number one on the trade bait list.
Yep.
And he's a centerman that a lot of players or a lot of teams would want if they can retain salary or something.
Mm-hmm. Just be hard because it'd be a team trying to make a push, so you kind of wonder what are they going to trade for him because he's also going to command quite a bit in return, you'd think. And where do you bring in a guy this big and put him into your lineup like right at the end of the season and not screw things up?
Yeah, I mean, what's his face-off percentage?
Can Washington afford him though?
Maybe with max salary retained.
Max salary.
And then we trade. What's his current salary?
He's probably in the 6 range.
6 or something. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to trade like Burakovsky. There's no way.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
Burakovsky
besides,
makes like
he'd be your third line center anyways, wouldn't he?
Well, I mean, Kuznetsov is currently our third line center because he sucks right now.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, lots of teams would love having him.
Maybe Edmonton should trade for him, and then we have a center depth of McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Duchene.
I mean, just bump Dry up to wing.
Well, he
on
already
McDavid,
is. He already
yeah.
is, but just imagine that center depth on paper.
Yeah, I don't know. Careful. Chiarelli might trade like everybody for him.
Well, luckily there's only about 50,000 or something in cap space right now,
Yeah.
so nobody's coming to Edmonton.
Unless they move somebody out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of talk of trying to get to trade Talbot at the trade deadline for a winger, because Talbot's making about $4 million and he's a UFA at the end of the season. So that's a big one, and we've also got Andre Sekera, who's probably going to be coming off of the LTIR right away, which is going to do some more issues with the cap because there's not much room to bring him back.
How good is he going to be, though?
I don't think he's going to be great. I think
he was injured all of last season, right? And all of this season so far.
Yeah, because he missed about the same amount of time last season because he got injured by Getzlaf in the playoffs the year before.
Right.
So he didn't come back until the beginning of January or something. And he said he was playing with a knee brace the whole year too, which impacted his
good.
Yeah. It really impacted his movement and mobility, especially with trying to turn around and skate, backwards and everything. This year he doesn't have the knee brace, so he says he feels better on the ice, but now you've got a major knee injury and a torn or ruptured Achilles, whatever it's called.
Basically 2 lost seasons.
Yeah, and, he's in his mid-30s, so wouldn't expect him to come back and be who he was in 2016-17, but his presence in the lineup and his experience, his leadership, his stability be huge just to help stabilize the defense and to help teach some of the younger defensemen kind of bring to ease their transition into the league.
Yeah, and bump one of those young guys back down.
Yeah,
because they're struggling.
A little bit. Maybe even not down to the AHL, but down the lineup, because you don't really want 7 defensemen playing 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, I know. With Bowie playing the way he is, kind of similar. I mean, Juice is going to come back, and Juice is obviously not a 35-year-old guy, but I don't know what they're going to do because Bowie's got to go through waivers to go back down to the AHL, but he sucks. So I'd rather that they kept Siegenthaler up so he could play because he's playing better and he's earned it.
Mm-hmm.
But then Bowie just rides the press box.
And that's not good for a defenseman who needs to to
So
play.
either they risk sending him down, but I mean at this point if he gets claimed,
oh well. I mean you've got Siegenthaler and Juice as young defensemen in the system as well.
Yeah, and then they've got another few young prospects on D too. So
can you afford to lose the one, or does he now become trade bait?
Yeah, I mean because we've already got like 2 out of 3 guys who are young that are playing well.
Yeah.
So if you lose one,
yeah,
it sucks.
It's
but
okay.
That's the business, right? So someone will claim him, I think. But
I feel like they'd be better suited to try and trade him first.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. A lot of people are trying to picture what the Capitals could get for Bowie and Burakovsky together. A couple young guys. I think Burakovsky's 23 and Bowie's probably 22 or something. So I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Just a situation of combine lower value assets together to make one bigger value asset. It's the EA
NHL trade system. Yeah, you just bump up that value until it's.
If
equal.
I add my 7th round pick the next 5 years, it'll make the trade value bars equal.
Exactly. So you can give me Duchene for Bowie, Burakovsky, and
5 7th round picks.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how it should be, right?
That's how it works.
That's obviously equal value.
Yep.
So Ottawa, do it.
Yep.
But
get on that, Dorian.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you wanted to discuss? I've kind of gone through a bunch of my lists, but
yeah, I think
I'm sure there's something else we could
that's
figure out.
Well, I mean, we can start worrying about the imminent lockout.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So since we last recorded, the World Cup of Hockey in 2020 got canceled.
Yeah, it sucks.
Which I didn't watch much of that tournament, but like it's still kind of a cool thing for the players, and it's not a good sign if the league's preemptively getting rid of events that would involve the players playing. And I also saw a quote from Bettman where he said he is not looking for a fight, which unfortunately is the exact thing he said in 2003.
Ah, man.
So
lockout, ahoy.
Yeah, that's going to be another fun year.
Yeah, I don't want it, but
it sucks that every single time there's a CBA negotiation that there's a lockout. It's really hard to keep the consistency of your sport going and to keep growing it when every 5-6 years you miss a season or half a season.
Yeah, it sucks because then like players lose a season in their career.
That too.
And then they, like all their point totals. What if they didn't have 2 lockouts, or what if they
Ovechkin?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Like he had he missed a season and a half from lockout because he probably would have made the NHL
his
first
draft year was a lockout.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
there's probably another 60, 70 goals for him.
And then there was the shortened season.
Yep.
So
the year and a half, 60, 70 goals.
Sucks because he would have had a much greater chance, when he was scoring 50 those years. So, yeah, it sucks. I really don't want there to be a lockout as a fan, but as
like you want both. Well, you want both sides. You want the players to make sure that they're not getting taken advantage of by the owners and by the organizations.
Yeah. I mean, I've studied like labor relations and stuff in school, so I get that there has to be a sit down. But it just sucks that the ramifications of them not going back to work is that there is no season basically.
Yeah.
Or a shortened season. So it
screws up the entire hockey world because suddenly you've got all these players going and playing in other leagues. So they're taking roster spots from everybody else. And, oh, hey, the lockout only lasted half the season. Right in the middle of the year, you've got all your best players leaving the organization. So you're screwing up all these other leagues just from players who are trying to play anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some things they're going to have to tidy up regarding, salary cap circumvention and stuff, but I think the major thing is going to be the Olympics.
I think that's probably going to be a big one for the players, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, especially if they canceled the World Cup of Hockey, like, that was kind of the olive branch, we'll have something, and now that that's not there, there's going to be a lot of players unhappy.
Yeah, 'cause those Olympic tournaments are truly the best of the best.
And as a fan / consumer of the product that the NHL offers, we want to see them represented at the Olympics. And to be honest, when there was no NHL players in the Olympics, I didn't watch.
Yeah, I followed.
It was shitty hockey. I didn't want to watch guys who used to be in the NHL.
Yeah. It was kind of like the Spengler Cup.
Yeah.
For Canada.
Anyways. I've never watched the Spengler Cup. Yeah. And, you don't want to see, like, what's his name? The guy
who basically
the guy who bit the finger when he was on Vancouver. Not Burroughs, but the other guy,
No, I don't remember.
Anyway. French guy. Anyway, you have, like...
Oh, no, I forget.
Those guys representing Canada, and it's just like, well, we could have, like, a center depth of, like, Crosby, McDavid, like, Tavares, Bergeron.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't compare to what they sent.
Yeah. And, it's like, it's really cool for these other guys to get the chance to go and, like, put on Team Canada's jersey or their own country's jersey and represent them. But it's also, like, everyone's thinking...
That's not the best of the best.
Is there an asterisk that should be going there?
Yeah, like...
I think I saw this thing that basically, when you talk about, like, an organization's A team, their B team, like, the teams that were being sent, especially Canada, was essentially like their R team. It was, like, they had so many players, and the Olympics is like
Chris Kelly,
a handful of Oilers from like 2009 to 2015.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to watch because you're like, well.
And with the other thing too is, Bettman in the NHL, they've been so focused on growing the league and spreading hockey and growing the sport throughout the world that this is the one worldwide tournament that gets the majority of the nations in the world involved and focused on one thing. And if you're not taking advantage of that stage for your best players, you're really missing a huge opportunity.
Well, I think that's where their issue comes in, is that the IOC is not allowing the NHL to have any share of either the income or the broadcasting rights or anything.
I see.
The NHL is not allowed to use highlights from Olympic events. They're not allowed to put the rings on anything, the Olympic rings.
Gotcha.
They don't have any partnership at all. So the ownership of the NHL wants in. The IOC is not allowing it. So the real issue isn't really with NHL ownership and NHL players.
It's that they don't want to be using their don't want to be using their product as on goodwill, basically.
The NHL wants in for monetary reasons.
Yeah.
But the IOC is not allowing them. So I mean, obviously there's some friction between the NHL and the NHLPA because of things like injuries and stuff if they're going to go over there.
Very true.
But where this monetary thing comes in is, well, if we're going to send our players over to the Olympics and the IOC is going to make so much money, we want to cut because, we're putting our, basically, if you think about it in business terms, like our asset is going to go be used by you. Well, we can't make any money while he's over there, and we have to shut down
of injury or damage.
Yeah, so and then he might come back injured. Well, where's our compensation for that? Because now our team is shitty because they're not sending they're not sending the fourth line guy to the Olympics unless he's from like Kazakhstan, right? They're sending their best players. So when they go over there and get hurt, it's like, well, fuck, now we're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
Because he played for his country, yeah, that's cool, but now we can't make our playoff push.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it sucks because there's the NHL, the NHLPA, and then the IOC. And obviously it's a big issue for the players because they want to play for their country. But the NHL is kind of in between a rock and a hard place because they have to negotiate with the IOC and with the players. And if the players make a really hard push, it's probably going to be a lockout because the NHL can't do anything.
Yeah.
If they can't get the rights, they can't get the rights.
That makes sense.
And it sucks. I really hate it that that's the way it is, but that
We're
is
gonna
the
have
way
an
it is.
NHL lockout for something that's not actually related to the NHL.
Yeah, like because the reason that the players weren't in the last Olympics is because they didn't negotiate it. So
that's going to be a huge bargaining point in this CBA reopening.
So 2010 and 2014 were both in the CBA that the players would go. And it was just like assumed, I guess, that was into perpetuity.
Oh, okay.
But it's not, because if it's not in writing, it's not in writing. It's not documented. So it just sucks that players all want it to go, but they can't.
Yeah.
And another thing that I fear as a fan of a team with Russians on it is that the Russians will just be like, well, fuck this, and go back to Russia and then play for Russia.
Play in the KHL.
They'll breach their contract and then just go play in the Olympics because it means so much to them.
Well, Ovi said he was going to.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised he didn't.
I'm really surprised he didn't.
And the other worry too is like, especially with Ovechkin, because his contract is up right after the lockout would be over, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And he's already said he's not committed 100% to staying in the NHL. He might want to go home.
Yeah, so if the Olympics is a big deal breaker, which it is for him, if they can't go, he's just not going to re-sign, which is shitty because he's obviously a huge part of that team, and I want to see him play for no other team but the Capitals. But also because Ted Leonsis is one of the most supporting owners for sending players to the Olympics, because he said, I will support Ovechkin 100% if he wants to go to the Olympics. So it's like you have him as an owner saying, yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. But then all the other owners are probably like, no, fuck that. It's just like such a huge issue. But if you break it down, it's like you have the IOC, which is like a piece of garbage. And then you have the NHL, which is, I don't know, whatever. Take it or leave it. And the NHLPA. So it's just like a three-way love triangle.
It's just this weird, awkward negotiation situation where it's like,
when you have, you're powerless, but you don't want it to happen.
No side has the same interest. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's hard to find some middle ground that'll benefit everybody.
Because the NHL like wants to put NHL like next to the Olympic rings and stuff, so that people are like, oh, what league do these guys play in? Oh, the NHL. Maybe I should watch that. I can watch these guys.
Yeah, and that would help a lot, especially with the next Olympics in China.
Exactly, right?
I mean,
how
but
else
then do you grow the NHL
but then
in
like
China?
the KHL is a team in China, so then does that become an issue? Because there's Kunlun Red Star or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I believe that's her name.
So it's just like such a big fucking issue, and you just feel so helpless because there's these massive corporations involved, and I personally don't think the IOC gives a shit about the NHL.
I mean,
as they've shown.
I'm sure they enjoy the extra income and viewership,
and
but
they're not going to want to split that income.
Like their stuff's going on either way.
Yeah,
like I think they kind of just come in, destroy a city, leave, and move to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. It's just frustrating, and I don't mean to be too negative, but I just.
I mean, we've got reason to be negative and worried about it.
Yeah, it's just such a.
It's
gonna be a very long bargaining process, I believe.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that they're trying to get some stuff going already, but for like a company like BC Ferries, which is just a BC-based company, basically the negotiation starts as soon as the CBA is written for the next one.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't get done in time before that expires, guess what? It's a lockout.
Yeah.
Or a strike. Or whatever, right? So, I mean, they're a company that had really bad labor relations, and now they're really good. So it's possible to change that around, but the NHL and the NHLPA haven't been particularly good at that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of goodwill between them, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, and I think Smythe and Bettman, or no, is it Don Fair? Is he the head of the NHLPA?
He is, or what? I think he might be right now, and then this is his last, like once this next negotiation or renewal is over, he's retiring, I think is the deal.
Yeah, so I don't know the relationship that him and Bettman have, but...
Well, the thing, too, is Bettman's kind of a figurehead. It's mostly the owners.
Yeah, I
right?
mean, he
like
speaks for the
Bettman's
owners.
ultimately the...
He has their interests in mind, yeah.
But I think it's a lot of the owners, and there's a select few owners who are very difficult, I'll say.
Yeah, probably. Hey. Yeah, I
Which-
mean, I get it. I get that they don't want their team to have like nothing to show for their players leaving, and then the schedule has to be changed and put on
Mhm.
pause basically until everyone gets back.
And the NHL probably
And no one's watching
doesn't.
the NHL.
Yeah, no one's watching the NHL. I think they usually cancel the All-Star game too that year.
Yeah, so I get it. I get it. It's just who doesn't love watching Olympic hockey, right?
Exactly.
So
Like, I got up. So many people, like myself included, got up at 4 a.m. or whatever to watch the gold medal game in Sochi.
yeah, wake
Why-
up at like 3 a.m.
It's
to
like-
watch it, and it's just there's nothing else like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just such an experience, and like watching the golden goal that Crosby got, like that's that's like our nation's collective greatest hockey moment. Watching that goal,
Aside from Paul Henderson, 72.
yeah, I mean in my lifetime,
Yeah.
But,
that I witnessed myself.
yeah, like I mean I remember where I was. It's like a major event.
Yeah.
So there's nothing quite like Olympic hockey, and I really, 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 really have my fingers crossed and knock on wood that the NHL will send players to the next Olympics. But
Yeah, and I'm
Who
mostly
knows?
like I can live with no Olympics. I'm more worried about the lockout because that's indicating that there's more issues than just the
Yeah.
Olympics.
I mean, ideally you have no lockout and Olympics.
Ideally,
That's the
that
best case
realistic,
scenario.
though?
But worst case Ontario, you have a lockout and no Olympics, and the lockout drags on and you miss the entire season.
which really, I mean, luckily I was only like 10 when that first lockout happened, so I didn't really know. Like I noticed, but I didn't really.
Yeah.
But
Hockey means so much more to me now than
Yeah.
it did then.
like even the shortened season,
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what to do in the winter.
Yeah. What do you
first
do
half of the
without
year.
hockey? It's like summer year round. What happens?
Yeah, like what am I supposed to watch on TV in the evenings? What am I supposed to like do and keep up with and keep up to date with?
Yeah, I
And
guess we're gonna have to just follow junior hockey
that'd be fun too.
or pick like a KHL team. But KHL teams, if you want to watch them, it's probably like 2 a.m.
Yes.
and hard to get a stream that doesn't give your computer super aids. So
Yeah.
so
I think I don't know. Junior hockey's the next bet.
yeah.
I mean, usually as well. The AHL kind of steps up in that time too.
Yeah,
end up-
and like
they
a
end
lot
up
of those
getting a
Euro
handful.
leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I know, like Nick Backstrom and Ovechkin went to play for like Dynamo Moscow, and everybody goes all over the place, like
Mhm.
Austria or Czech, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
It isn't.
And you see like the ads on the ice and the ads on the jerseys, and you're just like, this isn't. Takes you out of
this
it.
isn't
Takes
right.
you right out of it.
This
Like
isn't
the
right for me.
stickers on the helmet and stuff. But I mean, I guess some junior hockey is televised, and then there's obviously it's on the radio, so you could at least like have it playing on the
It's also
radio
pretty
while you do
cheap.
something. Yeah,
You can just go.
yeah. I mean, if you live nearby to a junior team,
I mean, we're in Canada. Every town's got a junior team.
yeah. But I don't mean like junior A. I don't really want to watch junior A. I'd rather watch like WHL
Fair.
because
point.
the level of competition is just higher. Yeah, I can't remember. Like when there's a lockout, do they do a draft? If it's still going on, the lockout?
Well, they did the Crosby draft because that was right. That was after the lockout. But I guess they knew by that point that they had, or that they were done, right?
Right. I'm not
'Cause-
sure because like that seems like it would be a really tricky situation because when do players become a member of the NHLPA? Is it when they're drafted or is it when they've played a game?
There's when they sign.
Maybe
When they're
when they sign their contract, their entry level contract. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
I'm
I'd
not
have
sure.
to look that up. But it just seems like it would be so messy if there's no
well, they
current
yeah.
CBA. If that would be like just a management run thing, the draft, or if there would need to be a representative of the union there. I don't know. Hopefully we never find out
The questions we
what-
don't want the answer to right there.
what would happen there, but yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of a depressing end to the third episode here, but
Lockout looming, everybody.
yeah, sorry to bum everybody out, but we're gonna wrap it up here, and yeah, I guess don't forget we're on Twitter and Instagram
and Facebook.
Facebook, if anyone still uses Facebook, I don't know, but yeah, I guess we'll wrap it here.
Talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.